After giving birth, I didn't cry, but I lost myself. Preface. The silence no one saw. After giving birth, I didn't cry. No panic attacks. No nights of desperate screaming. I still woke up on time. I still fed my baby. I still replied to messages from loved ones with short sentences. Mom's okay. And so, everyone believed I was really okay. But no one saw the long silences within me. No one noticed the emptiness I felt whenever the room was quiet. No one heard the sighs I swallowed back, just to maintain a normal outward appearance. I wasn't sad in the way people usually think of sadness. I wasn't happy either. I just fell silent. There were days that passed, and I cared for my baby like a programmed clock. One task followed another, without emotion, no expectations, no questions. I hear others say, "This mother is amazing, always so calm." But they don't know, inside me is a growing void. That silence doesn't cause a commotion. It doesn't worry anyone. It doesn't draw anyone's attention. But precisely because of that, it's dangerous. Because there are pains that don't bring tears. And when no one sees you cry, no one thinks you need a hug either. When everything seems to be fine, is the most dangerous thing. After giving birth, I became very fine. Fine in a way that made no one worry. So fine that I even believed I was okay. I didn't complain about being tired. I wasn't irritable for no reason. I didn't cry in the bathroom in the middle of the night. I still woke up early. I still breastfed on time. I still remembered every little detail. Feeding time, bedtime, sunbathing time. From the outside, I was the image of a mother adapting very well. But fine doesn't mean healthy. There's a very subtle difference between being in control of everything and being numb to emotions in order to survive. I wasn't happy when my baby smiled. But I wasn't sad either. My emotions were frighteningly flat, like still water. People usually think postpartum depression must be accompanied by tears, panic, and despair. But few talk about the kind of depression where you still play all the roles, you just don't feel like you're living in it anymore. I started saying, "I'm fine," very smoothly. It became a reflex. No thinking, no feeling. Every time someone asked, "How are you?" I smiled and answered exactly the same way. As if I had memorized my own role. I didn't allow myself to weaken. Because I thought, if I can still do it, then I don't need help yet. And that thought kept me in a dangerous state longer than any crying spell. I gradually got used to living without emotions. Accustomed to finishing today just to move on to tomorrow. Accustomed to not expecting anything. There are evenings, when everything is quiet, I sit there and don't know what I'm thinking. Not sad, not tired, just empty. This emptiness isn't noisy. It doesn't scare anyone, but it quietly drains you. Because when you're okay for too long, you no longer know what you need. You don't realize when you stopped listening to your body, stopped questioning your emotions, stopped allowing yourself to be weak. You just keep going out of responsibility. Keep going for your child. Keep going because everyone thinks you're doing great. And at some point, you can no longer distinguish whether you're living or just fulfilling your duty as a mother. The most dangerous thing about the seemingly okay state is that it doesn't give you a reason to stop. No one pulls you out. No one asks further questions. And you yourself don't think you deserve help. Until you realize you've been in this silence for too long. Lost in myself from the smallest things. I didn't lose myself in one major event. There was no obvious moment of collapse. No fall that everyone saw. I lost myself from the smallest things. From not remembering the last time I did something just because I liked it. From wearing the same clothes every day, not to save money, but because I no longer cared how I looked. At first, I thought it was just fatigue. After giving birth, who wouldn't be tired? I told myself that, then dismissed the fleeting feeling of discomfort. I paused looking in the mirror for a few seconds longer. Not because I hated myself, but because I no longer felt familiar. The woman in the mirror still looked like me, but her eyes were different. I used to have little things to look forward to. A quiet coffee. A song I listened to over and over. An afternoon walk without a purpose. After giving birth, those things disappeared naturally. No one took them away. I just didn't hold on to them. My days shrunk to a few repetitive tasks. Feeding the baby, putting the baby to sleep, cleaning, repeat. Initially, I kept telling myself, there will be time for me. But as time went on, I forgot that I used to be the one who needed to be prioritized. I no longer asked, how am I feeling today? I only asked, is the baby enough? And each little question like that pushed me further and further away from myself. I began to accept the fact that I no longer dreamed, not because I had grown up, but because I was too tired to think about the future. Dreams become a luxury, unnecessary, not urgent. There are evenings when I sit down after a long day, I don't know what I want to do next. No reading, no watching, no listening, just sitting still and waiting for bedtime. This loss is very quiet, not painful, not shocking, but it lasts. Little by little, I give up very small parts of myself, hobbies, emotions, thoughts unrelated to motherhood. I don't realize it's happening, because it's cleverly disguised under the word sacrifice. Everyone says, that's what motherhood is like. You'll get used to it. And I believe, until one day, I tried to remember who I was before becoming a mother, and realized I couldn't answer anymore. Not because I had become a better person, but because I had neglected myself for too long. The silent guilt of the mother. Don't cry. I didn't cry after giving birth, and that gave me a very strange feeling, guilt. I felt I had no right to be tired, no right to be weak, no right to complain, because I could still do everything. My child was still being cared for. The house was still tidy. Everything was still running smoothly. And when everything seemed okay, I started to wonder, what right do I have to say I'm not okay? I saw other mothers crying from exhaustion, and a thought flashed through my mind that made me ashamed. At least I'm not that bad. But then came a heavier feeling. If I didn't cry, didn't break down, am I overreacting to my own emotions? I learned to deny my own weariness very quickly. Every time I felt my heart sink, I immediately pulled it back with reason. I'm lucky. I should be grateful. So many people suffer more. Those statements aren't wrong, but when repeated too often, they became a way for me to prevent myself from feeling. I didn't dare say I was tired, for fear of being seen as weak. I didn't dare say I was sad, for fear of others thinking I didn't appreciate my role as a mother. I didn't dare say I felt empty, because I didn't understand why I felt that way myself. And so I chose silence. Silence wasn't because I was strong, but because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I carried within me an invisible image, a mother who must endure, must be strong, must sacrifice without complaint. Every time I feel I need to rest, I blame myself. Am I already so tired? Am I already so overwhelmed? This guilt doesn't come from the outside. No one told me to be this way. I put it on myself. Because I believe that a good mother is one who doesn't bother others with her emotions. But what no one tells me is that suppressed emotions don't disappear. They just change how they exist. They become numb, a distance from myself, a nameless weariness. I still smile, I still nod, I still say, it's okay. But inside, I constantly ask myself, why do I feel so bad when everything is fine? That question doesn't have an immediate answer. Only one truth gradually emerged. I was demanding too much of myself, while not allowing myself the right to be weak. I didn't cry, but I had endured for a long time. And that silent suffering carried an unnamed sense of guilt. Guilt for not being as strong as I thought I should be. When I realized I'd disappeared, I didn't realize I'd disappeared in a moment of great significance. There was no incident, no crashing sound. It happened on a very ordinary day. The children were asleep. The house was quiet. I stood alone in front of the mirror, as I had always done. I looked at the woman in the mirror for quite a while. Not to check for flaws, neither to adjust my hair. I just stood there, and felt nothing. Unfamiliar, not strange, just empty. The person in the mirror looked like me, but I didn't feel like I was there. That moment wasn't painful, but it frightened me, because for the first time, I realized I had been absent from my own life for a very long time. I tried asking myself a very simple question. If today isn't being a mother, then who am I? And I couldn't answer, not because I'm worthless, but because it's been too long since I needed that answer. I've become accustomed to existing in a single role, so accustomed that every other part of me has faded into silence. I no longer remember what color I like. I don't remember the last time I laughed about something unrelated to my child. I don't remember what it felt like to be myself, not someone I need to pretend to be. I'm not intensely sad, just a deep sense of emptiness. Like walking into a familiar house, but most of the furniture has been removed. It's still the same space, but the warmth is gone. I realize I've disappeared not because I'm weak, but because I've been constantly choosing others over myself, for too long. I thought it was normal, right, what a mother should do. But no one told me. You can give so much, until you have nothing left to give, not even yourself. This disappearance wasn't noisy, no one else noticed, only I knew, and when you're the only one who sees it, you're also the only one who can name it. For the first time, I allowed myself to consider another possibility, that perhaps I wasn't as okay as I claimed. Not in a way that warranted panic, but in a way that warranted care. Realizing I had disappeared didn't make me strong immediately. It made me weak, in a necessary way. Because only when I admitted I had lost myself, could I begin to find myself again. Not to become the old person, but to become a present version, a truly present version, in this life. That moment didn't save me immediately, but it awakened me, and sometimes, being awakened is the first step towards returning. This is not weakness, this is exhaustion. For a very long time, I believed I was weak. I saw the emptiness within me and thought it was because I wasn't strong enough. I blamed myself for not being completely happy while I had everything I should be grateful for. I wondered, why am I not as happy as other people? Why can't I be the image of a mother that society often praises? But then I began to understand something else. There are states that are not weakness, but prolonged exhaustion. Exhaustion doesn't always manifest as collapse. Sometimes, it manifests as silence. By continuing to do things, just without the energy to feel. After giving birth, my body hadn't fully recovered. My sleep was fragmented, repressed emotions. The pressure to excel in my new role was ever present. I demanded that I adapt immediately, while not giving myself time to breathe. I wasn't weak, I had been holding on for too long. We often confuse resilience with mental health. Being resilient doesn't mean you're okay. It just means you haven't fallen. And I lived in that state. Not fallen, but no longer standing. I started looking back at all the signs I had ignored. Fatigue that didn't go away after sleep. Apathy towards things that used to care about. A feeling of emptiness even when the day passed uneventfully. Those signs weren't accusations. They were cries for help. But I ignored them, because I thought, just a little more effort. No one teaches us how to stop. When things are still running, no one says you're allowed to burn out, even when you're still fulfilling your responsibilities. I compared myself to other mothers, forgetting that no one knows how much they're enduring behind closed doors. Burning out doesn't make you a bad mother. It just means you've given so much that you haven't been reciprocated. And when I changed the way I called my state, things started to shift. I stopped asking, why am I so weak? I asked, how long have I been tired? That question was gentler, and more importantly, it opened up the possibility of being cared for. I started allowing myself to rest, not because I was giving up, but because I needed to recover. Understanding that this is burnout doesn't make everything disappear immediately, but it helped me stop punishing myself. And sometimes, stopping self-blame is the first step toward healing. Loi di no nung la buk ki lai. Toi kong tim duok loi tho trong mot koan kak bung sank. Kong ko quiet tam lon. Kong ko loi hua thay doi ban than tuing mai. Chi ko mot sui gi rat no. Min kong the teep tuk song nu the nay nua. Loi di tien kua toi kong fi la lam jia gi du ta ta. No la cho fef ban than dung lai. Kong fi dung vi tro lam mi. Ma dung viets f min fi luon on. Toi bak di bang viets thua enon. Rat ki. rang toy can duok gi up do. Kong fi vi toy that by, ma vi toy da kiet suck. Toy noi ra jia du voi mot inguoi duien hat. Kong kan git di dong. Kong kan duok kuyen nu. Chila noi, min dang rat met. Va lan di tien, toy kong kem theo loi sin loi. Toy hok kathach ha thap tu xuan. Kong fi cho con, ma cho chin min. Ena kong kan luon gon. Bua and kong kan hon hao. Mot so viets ko the lam sao. Jia quan trong hon la toy bat di hoi ban the num cow hoi rat don gian. Homne min kan gi. Ingi luk ne. Jia gi she kian min de tho hon mot chut. Doi khi, cow tra loi rat no. Ingoi yen nam foot kom lam gi. Mot kok nuk am. Mo kua so cho an sank val fong. Nung viets ne kong chua lan ngay. Nung chung gi up toi ki lai voi ko the min. Toi kung hok kathach fan bit giua viets cam sok va viets hai shine den kan kiet. Cam sok la khi ban cho di nung van kon lai. Hai shine den kan kiet la khi ban cho di ma kong kon gi de bu dap. Toi enen ra, noi toi bian mat hon tone, tiing guoi mat nu en hat kung chin la kon toi. Loi di kua toi kong fi luk nao kung thang. Koingi toi lam duok rat et. Koingi toi lai ki ve trang horsi u. Nung lan ne, toi kong trosh min. Toi hu rang hoi fuk kong fi la mot duong thang. No la nung vong lap. Nung wa vong. Toi bit min dang o di. Toi bat di cho fef ban than ko nung koan kak rat ring. Kong fi da, tim lai chin min, mot kathach talon. Chila da no rang, toi van tun tai. Mot bien hak siu, mot don gi chun yan. Mot boy di bo cam. Nung jia no bay du kong lam toi tro lai ngay. Nung chung de lai di vet. Va roi toi enen ra, ki lai kong fi la tro than kon ingui siu. Ma la tro than mot ingui ko mat, trong tung koan kak min dang song. Loi di ne rat no. Ko luk toi kon gi ingo no ko tun tai hei kong. Nung wa khi toi chon lang nghe min mot chut, chon gi thay vai gong, chon noi that thay vai im lang. Toi bit min dang ki lai. Cam, kong hon hao, nung la ki lai that. A message to the silent mother. If you are listening to these words, perhaps you are just like I used to be. You didn't cry much, you didn't panic, you didn't say you were falling apart. You still did everything you needed to do. You still took care of your children. You still got through one day, and then another. And sir, no one asked if you were okay. Not even yourself. I want you to know one very important thing. Your silence doesn't mean you're okay. It just means you've gotten used to suffering on your own. If you're feeling empty, if you feel like you're disappearing, if you no longer recognize the woman in the mirror, you're not wrong. You're not weak. You're not ungrateful. You're not becoming a worse mother because of those feelings. You're just tired, more tired than you allow yourself to admit. Motherhood isn't about disappearing so someone else can exist. Motherhood doesn't require you to be strong all the time. You're allowed to need help even when you're doing great. You're allowed to say you're not okay without apologizing. If you can't tell anyone today, just do one small thing. Don't deny your own feelings. Don't say, I'm okay, when you're feeling so heavy inside. Start with something else, lighter, more genuine. I'm very tired. Not so someone can fix you. Just so you don't have to carry it all alone. You don't need to go back to being your old self. You don't need to become a perfect version of yourself either. As long as you are present. As long as you feel. As long as you allow yourself to be human. If at times you feel like you're drifting too far, remember, seeking support isn't a failure. It's an act of protection. Talk to a trusted friend. Share with loved ones. Or seek professional help when you're ready. You deserve support, not just because you're a mother, but because you are a human being. And if today, all you can do is stay one more day, That's enough. You don't need to prove anything. I believe that, somewhere within you, a version of yourself is waiting to return. Slowly, very slowly, but it's real, and you are not alone on that path.